And finally, an answer to the age-old question of what's better, werewolves or lycans? Wait, no, that's not the question, although I would like to know what you think. The question is, what's the difference between a lycan and a werewolf? And why am I still wearing these glasses? There's simply no need for them ever since I got these magically enhanced eyeball spectacles. So is there a difference between lycans and the werewolves? The topic's not even debatable. The term lycanthropy is the mythological or magical ability to change into a beast-like state, such as a werewolf. And clinical lycanthropy is the delusional belief that one turns into an animal, or, for example, a wolf or a werewolf. In Dungeons & Dragons, a lycanthrope is any were-animal variation, such as a were-tiger, a werewolf, a were-bear, whereas in historic mythology it refers to the werewolf, as wolves were oh so demonized by those silly humans. The abbreviated term lycan of lycanthrope didn't really become popularized until the Underworld movie franchise, the series. And that has to garnish some respect as it has been such a huge influence on many a young mind on the internet. In the Underworld movie franchise, lycans are actually a second breed of the werewolf. They were created in the 13th century and descended from the well-known character William's werewolf bloodline. Once humans started to be infected by the firstborn lycan or another of his victims, they were unlike the first breed in that they retain their human personalities while transformed, as well as being capable at any point to take back on their human form. In modern pop culture and all this stuff on the internet, it is said that the lycan is more advanced than a werewolf. Lycans can change form at will at any time of day, while the werewolf can only change at certain points of the moon, such as the full moon, or randomly. Now bear in mind, don't sink too deep into this, as it bears no historic significance. It's all basically modern fantasy. Both the lycan and the werewolf are bipedal, walking on two legs. Although the lycan has a more humanoid posture, the werewolf has more beastly, well, more wolf-like posture that's a bit more hunched over. Lycans are said to be smarter than werewolves and more in control of their actions and ability and motives when they're in their crazy form. Or not so crazy. And here's the thing that's even mixed up in this funny pop culture. Werewolves sharing a particular weakness to silver, whereas lycans don't. And, well, the Underworld series don't really show much merit to this. But again, that's another mixed thing of the silliness that people made up and started to spread throughout the internet and little werewolfy subcultures of teenagers. Historically in Greece, a lycanthrope was a crazed and aggressive individual that ran around with what was, well, later termed as clinical lycanthropy, or a case of rabies, or a mix of both, which in time this crazed-looking idea started to take the form of a werewolf. And that's where legends form and really push our imagination. In other folklore, the werewolf was the cause of a bite or a curse or a magical act or practice. So in conclusion, the lycanthrope is basically an individual with the ability to change into a beast or animal. And clinical lycanthropy, or a clinical lycanthrope, is an individual that believes that they have the ability to change into a creature such as a werewolf. The Underworld movies made the abbreviated term of lycan more popular, and now kids all over the place think of this as a significant monstrous ordeal. Now on a bonus note, there's also the term skinwalkers, and that is a term that was created by the Native American tribe known as Navajo, or the Navajo Indians, as categorized by the early ignorant explorers. Basically, skinwalkers had the ability to change into an animal form, such as a wolf. Now there's your answer to that question. What were those things in Twilight? But there may be a better answer to that question. So were skinwalkers evil? No. They would go through a secret process to become a skinwalker, for whatever purpose. Of course, not all stories were good or neutral, and because of the human love for negativity and violence and horror, The scary evil Skinwalker stories really stood out and populated all over the internet, being glamorized with cool artwork and additional scary stories. So anyway, but what I think is a better term for a human that shapeshifts into a wolf form or an animal form is therianthropy, which is the mythological ability. And I'm not a big fan of using the word mythology or mythological, as it makes everything seem so fantastical, and there's a lot of truth and facts in mythology. So back to therianthropy, the ability of human beings to change or metamorphose into other animals by means of shapeshifting. So next time somebody asks, what are those things in Twilight? Well, the answer is they're therianthropes. So thank you for watching this quick discussion of the difference between a lycan and a werewolf. And if you want to learn more about werewolves and lycans, then check out our All About Werewolves video, and you can learn everything you've ever wanted to know about the werewolf. So once again, thank you for watching Crazy Monstrous Talks, only here at World of Monsters. Why, just look at the thickness of them, not to mention the disease, kitty.